My dear Frodo, you asked me once if I had told you everything there was to know about my adventures. Well, I can honestly say I have told you the truth. I may not have told you all of it.
Now we've a pretty big exclusive for you. It's one of the year's most eagerly anticipated releases, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. And we have one of the main characters. He plays Keely the dwarf. Aidan Turner is with us this morning. Aidan, how are you getting on?
Pretty good, thank you.
Working of a Sunday, huh?
I know, can you believe it?
Jesus, no rest for the wicked. So, listen, how are you doing? You're well anyway, yeah?
Yeah, really good. I mean, it's all been a bit crazy recently. We're just back from New Zealand at the world premiere of The Hobbit, obviously, and we flew in, I think, yesterday morning from New York, and then we have Dublin tonight and Leicester Square on Wednesday, so it's all a bit of a frenzy, but it's cool.
So basically you have no idea what time it is and where you are?
Don't have a clue.
I got to see the movie yesterday in the IMAX, and it's just simply breathtaking and looks stunning, and absolutely loved every single minute of it.
Oh, brilliant.
And I did think you were one of the lead performances in the whole thing. And I'm not just saying that because you're here, mind.
Oh, I think you're totally saying that because I'm on the phone.
Not at all.
Well, you're very kind. Thank you.
We'd say the same thing to James Nesbitt. No, I'm only joking. No, there was genuinely a lot of people absolutely, we're talking about the dwarves alone and the personality, but like from your point of view, when did you hear about this, or how did you get involved into The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey?
How did I get started? Well, I was shooting Being Human, this BBC Three series I was doing for a few years in Cardiff at the time, and Peter was in London, I think interviewing some actors, auditioning some people for different roles, and I just got a call to meet him in London, and I walked into the room, and he said he was a big fan of the show, of Being Human and stuff, so I kind of immediately went, oh, bloody hell, this could be in the bag. And then he said, have you read The Hobbit? And I said, no.
Right.
I shot myself directly in the foot.
Yeah.
And but it didn't seem to matter. He kind of just talked me through and told me about the story and all the rest of it, and that was it. I kind of let it go for, it must have been about nearly 3 months, I think, afterwards, before I heard a word. And then just got the call to say I had the job, and I've packed your bags. You're going to New Zealand for a year and a half.
Wow, what was that? What was that move like? Because I mean, it's something that some actors will be here, there, and everywhere, but you were, as you say, moving over there for a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty crazy. I mean, it takes a bit of forethought, a bit of planning involved. Obviously, if you're uprooted for 18 months or whatever, but. I don't have huge roots, really. I don't have any kids. I'm not married. It wasn't a huge consideration. It's just takes a bit of thought. But it was awesome. I mean, to go over, to go to the other side of the world to shoot something like this is obviously it's so special, and the memories are already sort of, so special. It's incredible, and it's such a lovely place to shoot. I mean, it's so the scenery, it's so idyllic over there. Anyway, it is in itself a little kind of Middle Earth. I mean, it's so beautiful, and. It was the perfect location, and it was great to kind of isolate yourself as well. I mean, even with the time zone thing and the dateline thing, to be even hard to kind of contact and hard to contact your friends and family back home in a weird way. You can find the positives in that too, because you can just completely immerse yourself in this crazy little world.
It's amazing how New Zealand have embraced like all things to do with Lord of the Rings and Tolkien and The Hobbit. Were you on the Air New Zealand plane?
I was, the branded plane from Heathrow over to Wellington. That was mental to have your face on the side of a plane. It's a once in a lifetime kind of thing, really. Well, I hope it is anyway.
Well, you never know. No, come on, there's another couple of movies in Peter Jackson for The Hobbit yet. So I mean, like we were talking about, the beauty of this thing and the scale. Like, surely there's a huge amount of pressure involved, knowing how big the Lord of the Rings were in scale and stature, what they did at the box office, and when you heard about this, I mean, any pressure, particularly I suppose when you think that Peter Jackson has invested so much time and energy and love into something like this. So, like, is there pressure to deliver even more so than something else?
Of course, there's always kind of pressure with any project you do. It's you at the end of the day. You're the one on the screen, and that's what people tend to think about when you're up there and stuff. But you can't really think about it. It only ever mucks you up. You just got to do your job. And the great thing about working on a movie like this, I mean, it's Peter Jackson, and he's proved himself before, especially with Tolkien's work. And you kind of just need to trust him and trust all the decisions he makes and all the critiques that he gives, that he has it right. So you kind of just invest in him and let him take you on that sort of trip. So you feel a bit of pressure. I mean, doing this kind of stuff, doing press and stuff, you hope it's well received, but, hearing kind words from people like yourself and stuff make you feel a lot better about the whole thing, and it all comes together and it becomes quite enjoyable. So, that kind of stress doesn't tend to work, especially on set,
Brilliant. From Keely's point of view, I mean, even from the makeup side of it, compared to the other dwarves, you kind of weren't laden down completely with prosthetics a bit, but the level of detail on the costumes and the weapons, it's like nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we were lucky. I mean, myself and Dino Gorman, who plays Feely, we had very little prosthetics on. I mean, it's quite a procedure. It saved us about an hour and a half every morning in the makeup chair. We only had a prosthetic nose, which you can't really see either. I mean, it was I don't know why we had to even go through it. It's bizarre, but yeah, we certainly dodged a bullet on that one. The costumes were the same. I mean, the costumes, the detail was incredible. I mean, it weighed them down too. I mean, to make them lighter and to be able to move around would have meant that you lost a lot of the detail. So it's all the real leathers and silks and furs and wools and all those kind of things. And I think it added, with the weapons and the armory and everything, added about 30 kilograms to each costume, which obviously made it difficult to move around. And under that layer, we had a cooling vest. This, I think the F1 drivers use them, I'm told, where this vest, you plug yourself into an ice box and it kind of runs cold water all around your midsection and stuff to cool you down, because obviously with the lights and with running around and fighting and stuff, it's almost impossible to cool down sometimes. So, the costume and the makeup was obviously a big part of the job.
Was it a case that you were weaned into a bag, or was there like a zipper or a fly somewhere on it?
I wasn't quite weeing into a bag, but you're sweating so much. It's funny. You don't need to use the toilet that often.
Right. Okay. That's a thought I think that we'll swiftly move on from.
Feely.
And Keely.
At your service.
You must be Mr. Boggins.
No, you can't come in. You come to the wrong house.
What? Has it been cancelled?
No one told us. No, nothing's been cancelled.
That's a relief.
Careful with these. But just had them sharpened.
It's nice, this place. Did you do it yourself?
Well, no, it's been in the family for years. That's my mother's glory box. Can you please not do that?
Keely, come on. Give us a hand. Mr. Dwellin.
Let's shove this in the hallway, otherwise we'll never get everyone in.
Hey, everyone? How many more are there?
Where do you want this?
Oh, no.
No, there's nobody home! Go away and bother somebody else! There's far too many dwarves in my dining room as it is. If this is some plothead's idea of a joke, I can only say it is in very poor taste.
Like the other dwarves, and of course, like we mentioned, Dino Gorman was your brother. Like within 30 seconds of all of the dwarves arriving into Bilbo's house, like they were instantly likable and like they seemed to get on great. Did that translate offset? Because to be fair, like you looked like a bunch of lads in a stag night out in Temple Bar just having a blast.
Yeah, it kind of was that, sans the booze some of the time. But yeah, we did really get along. I mean, it was a multitude of personalities as well, and I think we all just clicked. I mean, we had to. I mean, if we didn't get on together, it would have been a complete disaster. So I think knowing that going into a job, you have to get on with people, but you just naturally do anyway, and it works. And we were like a big happy family, and there was, obviously there's days that are tougher than others, but we all sort of support each other and helped each other out, and it just became easy and enjoyable. They're a great bunch of people, and they're from all over the world, and we just all sort of came together and made it happen. It was a lot of fun.
What was there kind of like a boot camp or a training session for you guys? Because like you were quite handy with the weapons, particularly the bow.
Yeah, with the bow and stuff. I mean, I think a lot of those arrows were CG arrows, unfortunately, so my skills weren't as amazing as you might think. But there was a dwarven boot camp. There was, I think, 10 weeks or possibly even 3 months of movement training, walking like a dwarf and singing and obviously archery training and hand-to-hand combat stuff and sword fighting and all sorts of mental stuff. So, but it gave us the time to really kind of get together and talk to Peter and collaborate with Peter and come up with the character and all that kind of thing and get to know each other better too. So it was a nice little period where we all kind of just got close, really. Yeah.
So, like you said, you were trained how to walk like a dwarf. Where does one even begin with that kind of training, or how does that work?
Geez, I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know what we used. I mean, it's a centre of gravity thing. I think the dwarves, they're obviously smaller, but they don't feel small. They're way down. They're minors, and they're used to kind of, shuffling along. They're quite heavy. I think their center of gravity is a bit lower than us. So, but that what happened was once we got the costume on and everything. I mean, we're way down by about 30 kilograms anyway, and we could hardly move. So the actual movement class, the training went out the window. It was method, and when we got to set.
So and the bow. So you wouldn't be handy with a bow and arrow if we gave you an apple, an Irish politician,
and
a bow and arrow. No good, no.
Well, that's a challenge I would certainly take on. I'm all right. I can do it. It's been a while, but I can certainly do it. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. And did you get Andy Serkis? Besides, of course, being Gollum's second unit director, did you get to work with Andy Serkis much?
Oh, we did. He was a joy. I mean, Andy was so good. He obviously knows the world of Middle Earth so well, and he gets on so well with Peter. And he's such an awesome actor too. You can't really hide anything from Andy. When Andy's watching the screens, he's one of my heroes, and you can't really fool him. But he's genuinely the nicest guy in the world. He's such a pleasant fella to be around, and that's kind of what you need too. It's the same with Peter. You need these lovely personalities, because the days can be long and sort of laborious enough and tough enough sometimes, and to have that their lovely sort of disposition present on set is something that's really awesome and much needed.
Andy wasn't doing his Gollum impressions for Colin Shots.
He won't do it. He won't do his Gollum impression. I mean, I didn't have the balls to ask him, but he doesn't do it anymore. He gets asked, you can imagine, on a daily basis about a dozen times or more, So it's something he doesn't do anymore, actually, which is a little bit disappointing.
So you got no new voicemail message from him, so no?
I don't, unfortunately, no. He doesn't do it.
Just before we wrap up, Aidan, obviously, this is the first of 3 movies. What can you tell us about the next one? Like from the principal photography point of view, have you guys kind of wrapped up on that now and it's gone into post for next year? Or
well, not quite actually. I think next summer, winter, next June, we have to go back and shoot a little bit more. I think it's the final battle scenes and stuff, just to clean up some of that stuff we've already started. I think we're back for a couple of months and that, But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to get back over there and see everybody again. I'm not super excited about fighting for 6 weeks non-stop, but it's something we'll do anyway, and it's always been fun to go back to New Zealand, so I'm kind of looking forward to that, yeah.
And visually, can you tell us how the movie is going to evolve on to the next step?
Well, I presume there's still going to be 48 frames. It's going to be the same. Technically, it's going to look as amazing as it is and stuff. I mean, there's no spoilers anyway. Everyone knows the story of the Hobbit and the journey that we all embark on. I mean, the book is published in 1937. There's no surprises there. But I don't know. Actually, I mean, I haven't seen so much of it. It's unlike any other job that you don't get to see. I saw it last week, and it was obviously for the first time. Even some of the post-production I've done with overdubbing your voice and different things you do, the ADR sessions, I mean, you get to see so little of it because they haven't been painted or touched, or there's been very little post on them anyway. So I don't really know what it's going to look like. I mean, it's going to be a surprise for us. I mean, obviously, as they move onto the journey, there's many different, extremely different locations and stuff that they fall into. I mean, there's the famous barrel scenes, and there's the Elven Kingdom, and there's so much. We meet Bard the Bowman, and we go to Lake Town, which is a big deal for my character. So yeah, there's loads more stuff.
Brilliant stuff. So on the final point, one memory that jumps out at you from shooting The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, be it off camera or on camera.
Oh God, I mean, well, what was a lot of fun was shooting on location. I mean, it was my opportunity, not obviously being from New Zealand like a lot of the other actors were, to see a lot of the country, and we saw a lot of really kind of cool isolated areas where kind of you felt like no one had been there before, like uncharted territory almost, and you'd be dropped off in a helicopter, handed a sword and told to run basically, and then Andy Serkis would chase you in a helicopter. I mean, that was a day's work, if you can believe it.
That's not a bad day's work at all,
it isn't
sir.
At all.
And listen, have you actually read The Hobbit now completely?
I have.
You have.
I finally got around to it.
Good man. Aidan, listen, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. We love the movie, sir, and congratulations and continued success.
Thank you so much.